is just something that happens when buying a puppy from pet stores. Puppy mill's conditions aren't safe for dogs, have effects on society, and are not prosecuted by law. Puppy mill conditions are not proper for dogs to live in. They don't get proper food, water, or waste disposal. They're starving dogs, which end up resulting in cannibalism.
Oh my god.
Dogs infested with ticks, and a lot of their food sources end up having cockroaches in them. These dogs are also kept in wire cages, which, when they go to the bathroom, ends up falling on the dogs below them, matting their fur in the feces and urine, usually causing them to be shaved after they are rescued, if they are. These dog mill owners also do not care for the safety of their dogs. The female dogs will be repeatedly bred without rest. So they will be bred 2 times a year, nonstop, until they're about 5 years old, which is when their puppies have leached all the calcium from their bodies and they end up dying. In a paper from the ASPCA called The Horrible Hundred, there's a story about this husky puppy who was locked in a cage with a Shiba Inu, who ended up being about 4 times its size, and was bitten and then drowned in their water bowl before it could be rescued. So the puppy died. These puppies are also not handled properly when they do leave the facility. They usually end up with broken jaws, damaged paws, nail issues, and fur coat problems. And the dogs, when they are transferred in vans without proper food, water, or ventilations. In addition to these poor conditions, puppy mills have effects on dogs and people outside the mills. They are good because they provide a steady income for breeders, which they sell their dogs for about $200 to $300 a piece to brokers, and they produce profits for pet stores. They provide about 100% of the puppies sold in pet stores and help fuel the pet industry, which in 2012 sold about $2.5 billion in the holiday season alone on animals. But these puppies that are sold from these pet stores usually have genetic issues, which some mostly appear only when they're grown adults. But Kate Granville was a woman who bought a puppy from a pet store in Missouri, and her dog, when she bought it, she thought it was just sick because it had a cough, but she ended up taking it to the hospital where she found out that it was both anemic and was fighting a case of pneumonia, which ended up costing her about an extra $5,400. These puppy mills continue with their poor practices because the government is not properly securing these facilities. The laws aren't effective towards breeders because if a USDA inspector goes and visits the puppy mill and they find a violation, they have to give them a warning before they can provide any immediate protection for the dogs. The facilities aren't being monitored properly because people who sell directly to the public and don't sell to puppy stores aren't required to get a license to be inspected from the USDA. And in an audit report from Missouri, they have stated that there's not enough inspectors for these dog mills to be inspected and for them to have the resources to find new puppy mills that aren't being inspected by the state. Also, these punishments are not being carried out because the action towards these violators are only applied when they repeatedly break the same law twice. So if they end up getting a violation for not feeding the dog properly, and then they get a violation for feeding the dog, or for not getting the proper medical attention, they will not receive action and they can continue with their practices until they get another inspection. In a letter from the USDA, it is said that out of the 4,250 breeders, 2,460 breeders repeatedly break laws and are not being persecuted for these offenses. In conclusion, these puppy mills are being poorly monitored, which is harmful for the dogs. These puppy mills also have effects on pet owners and the pet industry, and the government isn't regulating puppy mills to the best of their abilities. When you see a cute puppy, you never know what's under the surface. Buyers beware.